Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to call this one How to Upgrade a GM Side Post Terminal, but unofficially Sins of the Father, because I know that the guy who's responsible for all the butchery you're about to see was the most immediate previous owner. That's also why the truck is named after him. But anyway, let's give you some backstory. First off, this is how you charge a side post battery that's out of a vehicle. Don't go screwing around putting bolts in there and doing goofy crap like that. Just put your terminals on like that. Now obviously the next question you're going to have is, why isn't this battery in a vehicle? Why are we charging it in the shop? And the reason for that is because I had put the battery charger on this thing, and probably for about an entire day a while back, and went to crank it and still had no battery. And I found that to be very strange. I put the jump box on it and it cranked up, but it just barely did it. I'm like, what the hell? This battery's like a year old, or I guess maybe 2 years old at this point. Should be fine. And then I started examining things and this terminal was all loose. Okay, so I go to take the terminal off and you can see the previous owner just completely rounded it off. So that's a problem. And you can also see that somebody's chewed on it with pliers to get it tight. So we need to replace that. And I also knew the battery wasn't bolted in, and I scoured the interior looking for the battery hold down block, and it doesn't appear to be with the truck. So I said, okay, I will see about getting another one of those, but how does it bolt into the tray and all that good stuff? And it looks like that used to happen right through here. I'm up under the passenger side wheel well now, and you can see there used to be some kind of a formed nut or something in there that's just straight up gone now. So I've got to replace the battery terminal, I've got to put the battery mount block in, and then we're just going to run a nut and bolt straight through. So it'll be kind of a hassle to change in the future, but hopefully we won't have to change it very often. And these factory style GM side post mounts, these bolts are kind of captive in that connector. Sometimes they're kind of fun to get out of there. What normally works is to push it and then get on it with a ratchet or something and turn it out, but you know, no ratchet fits that, so I may have kind of a fun time with that one. We'll see. So what I'm going to attempt to do here is just get on this guy with a small pair of vice grips, like so. See if I can just finagle it. Come on. It looks like it's willing to be finagled, maybe. See if I can get her unscrewed. Think she's going to come. Yep, there she goes. So she's out of there. And to replace it, we're going to use one of these side lug adapters that allows you to put an accessory power wire on. You see a lot of people do these for like amplifier install kits, and that's my plan too. But what I want to do is just make sure the thread on the two is approximately the same depth. And they are. So I think there are different lengths of stud you can get. You certainly don't want to get one that's too long because you'll damage your battery. Boy, look how just rusted out and gross this one is too. Man. Ugh. Anyway, so we're going to be putting that on. But before we get real excited about doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put our eBay replacement battery hold down block in with just a regular nut and bolt. And I'm putting a bolt that's long enough. This thing's pretty thick. And that is probably 2.5, 3/8. So what you really probably want is 2-inch. And what I'm going to do here is just ghetto it up and put a big nut on the top of it to act as a washer, just pull that in. So I'm not really comfortable with just that much bolt sticking out into my fender well like that. So because Johanson, we're just going to ghetto it up and make it work. If you weren't following what I was saying, that's what we're going to do. Just a big nut on the top of this thing to act as a washer to soak up some of this excess thickness, and that's probably still more than I want, but it's going to be good enough, and it's what we're going to do for today because Johanson. There she is, solid as a rock. And the stick out isn't too horribly bad anymore, and just for good measure I goober slobbed the crap out of that with blue Loctite, so hopefully this nut doesn't fall off and come through a tire. Now hopefully we're back to what we came to do, which is get our mount in, and these guys don't lock in the way the GM ones do usually, and they're a little finicky about getting in this rubber bushing squarely. So like any other battery, positive first. Boy, that doesn't feel like it took a whole lot of threads. I hope he didn't screw up this battery. It's going. With these guys, since they've got such a big lug on them, you need to be careful that you don't over tighten them, because the temptation is to just reef on it because it takes, you know, usually a much larger wrench than usual. So I'm just trying to be delicate here. I promise you anything more than remotely finger tight is going to be tighter than it was when I started. Okay, that feels pretty good. I don't want to go crazy. Then the negative is just straightforward negative like always. Let's see if we get big sparks, see if something's wrong. Nope, looks like everything's fine. We'll get a regular wrench to put that one back on. Okay, everything's nicely secured. One more little detail to finish up. A lot of people get all freaked out by people doing this because this extends this positive lug so far without any kind of terminal cover. And there's two things about that. One, is, you know, top post batteries have had exposed terminals forever, and nobody gets upset about that. You know, a lot of cars and people do put caps on them, but it's been a thing for 70 years. The other thing is most people don't finish this off correctly with a terminal boot. The whole idea of these things is you run your accessory wire in the bottom, you bolt all your stuff together, and then the boot goes over the end of that like so. So it's all nice. Since right now I don't have an accessory wire to do that, I'm just going to zip tie this guy to the primary boot just to give it some protection in the meantime. But yeah, if you want to do this and you want to take the extra bit of precaution, go ahead and spend, you know, $4 or $3 or whatever on these boots. Make yourself a little more comfortable. And there we go, all installed nicely. Got our boot on there to protect that stud. Just threw a zip tie around it for the time being, just to keep everything nice and sturdy. No problems. Battery's not gonna fall out of the truck anytime soon. So now the only thing left to do is open the truck and see if we have signs of power. Yep, got a dome light. I'm gonna say that's good. And if I need to throw the charger back on it at some other point, I certainly can. But for right now, we're gonna call this one done. If you are interested in replicating anything that I've done here, I'll throw you some links down in the description so you can order parts. And as always, thank you guys for stopping in, and we'll catch you on the next one. I'm Max, that's Saddington Bear, and we make videos like this all the time. Here are a couple links to some other videos we've made, and we really appreciate you guys stopping in.